101 Dalmatians. Frango, Perdita, and their 15 puppies lived in a cozy little house in London. Their humans lived there too. Roger, who was tall, thin, who played the piano, and Anita, who laughed a lot. They all got along splendidly, and they were very happy. Then one day, the doorbell rang, and in came Cruella de Vil, Anita's old friend from school. I am so glad the pups have finally got to their spots, Cruella said, stroking their soft fur. Pay for the man. Pay for the puppy. Yes, Anita. Couldn't part with it. You see, Anita. Said Cruella. It's possible. We keep 15 puppies. We are not selling them, selling them, said Roger, and that's final. Furious, Cruella stamped out of the house. One frosty night, a few weeks later, Pongo and Perdita went out for a walk with Roger and Anita. The puppies were at home, asleep in their basket. Suddenly, two men burst into the house they put all the puppies in the bag and then they carried the bag out into their trunk and sped away. After being in the trunk, what seemed like hours, the 15 puppies found themselves in a room filled with many other Dalmatian puppies. On the couch in front of him, in front of a television set, were the two nasty men who had kidnapped them. The other Dalmatians told them that the men worked for Cruella, who bought the puppies from the pet store. Back home, Pop and Perdita were horrified to find their puppies missing. It's that evil Cruella de Vil, Perdita said, sobbing. He stole our puppies. Oh, Pongo, do you think we'll ever find them? I have a plan, Pongo. Said Pongo. Let's try the Twilight Bark. The Twilight Bark was a system of long ears and short barks used by dogs to pass along news. The next evening, Pongo and Perdita went on another walk with Roger and Anita, while the Dalmatians they barked long and loud. They wanted all the dogs in London to be on the lookout for their puppies. Pongo waited for someone to answer his barks. It was a very cold night, and most dogs were inside. Then Perdita added her bark to Pongo's, and at last they heard the reply. Message received. Oh, sorry about your puppies. We'll do all I can to help spread the word. How on a great day. That night, the twilight bark even reached a quiet farm where an old sheepdog known as the Colonel lay sleeping. Alert, alert, sir, shouted Sergeant James. It's a cattle day on the farm. Vigil, man, since you're from London. The Colonel lifted in the shaggy ear and began to listen to the faint message. 15 puppies have been stolen, he cried. Heard pop. I heard puppies barking at the old developed mansion. Said Timms. You don't suppose the Colonel barked into message and back to London. Then he told Timms. We should investigate right away. They headed straight for the gloomy devout mansion. Timms held on tight as the car until the Colonel's back as he rushed through the snow. Once they arrived, Timms climbed in up onto the Colonel's shoulders. He peeked through the open window. Good night, said the Count. When he saw all the puppies. There are a whole lot of. I'm looking for 15 puppies who were stolen by London. I was stolen, cried Lucky, one of the puppies. And so were my brothers and sisters. The men who heard the noise went to investigate. Timms and the Colonel ran away, but not before promising to get help. The next morning, Cruella arrived in her car. It's got to be done today, she cried. But you couldn't get it done. And it does go. It's out of a whole cock and doodle. One of her men protested one of her men, pointing to the puppies. And I'll have to settle half a dozen, Cruella. Just do it. She danced out and roared off in her car. Sergeant James and Cole had returned just in time. Cruella gave the order. You kids had better get out of here. Or before they make a cold out of you, Timms whispered. But then he shoved one of the puppies toward the hole in the wall. It's too small, protested the pup. Squeeze over the ordered Tim. And the puppy got through. One by one, the other puppies follow. Suddenly, two thugs realized that the puppies were escaping. The chase was on. Timms and the puppies scooted through the dark hall. In the dark halls of the mansion, soon they found themselves trapped at a dead end. The thugs raised their clubs to strike. At that moment, Ponga and Perdita crashed through that window with a blank. It's freezing in the air. It's in freezing air. The angry Dalmatian parrot and fun of the astonishment as all the puppies scampered to safety. Once the dogs were safely out inside, they thanked the Colonel and the Timms and said goodbye. Then they hurried Toward London, Pongo and Perdita led the way. Their 15 puppies and all the other Dalmatians mission pumps right behind them. When they reached the frozen stream, they carefully crossed the slippery surface so they wouldn't leave paw prints. Then they resumed the race home. All on the route, the Dalmatians were helped by other dogs. A black Labrador Retriever arranged for them to ride into London in a moving van. The Dalmatians leading the shed while the van was being fixed. Suddenly, Cruella's big car pulled up outside, and somehow she had followed their tracks. "Oh, Pongo," said Bertisa, "how will we get into the van?" Pongo noticed lots of air. Inches in the fireplace. If they all rolled into the sun, they would just look like black Labradors. The van ran. When the van was ready, the dogs marched outside, one after another. Soot covered all the puppies. Uncovered puppies were lifted into the van. Before Pongo could to pick up the last one, a plump of snow fell off from the shed and onto the puppy. Pongo snatched up the pup, but the snow had washed all the sun. Away the sun from the car, Cruella could see fur black spots. "They're escaping," she shouted, and as the van moved away, faster and faster went the van. But Cruella's car drew closer and closer. She was screaming in anger. Then she began to yell in fear. Her car skidded on the icy road. Cruella tried to stop, but her car spun around and slid into a ditch. The last of the Dalmatians saw Cruella. She was standing beside her wrecked car, having a nasty temper tantrum. When the van reached the cozy little house in London, Roger and Anita were overjoyed. And when they could enter the dogs, they discovered they now had 101 Dalmatians. We'll have to buy a big house in the country," said Roger. "We'll have a Dalmatian plantation." And they did exactly that. Pongo, Perdita, all the spotted puppies lived happily ever after. The end.